Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to lesson 21, where we start the last third of our course. In today's lesson, we're going to cover the grammatical rules for 4 words in the Arabic language: laysa, idh, idha, and man. These 4 words are very common in the Quran, so let's get started. Laysa means is not. For example, he is not sick, or I am not an engineer. It has a present tense meaning because you're describing what is currently not the situation. But the word laysa is conjugated like a past tense verb. So depending on who you're referring to, he is not or she is not, you have to actually change the word laysa. So let's see how that works. So if I'm saying he is not, I say laysa. But if I say she is not, I have to say laysat. Okay, so it's conjugated. So laysa, laysa, laysu. You'll notice this is very similar to a past tense verb, kataba, kataba, katabu, and so on. Laysat, laysata, lasna. Lasta, lastuma, lastum, lasti, lastuma, lastunna, lastu, lasna. So you should know this table, and when you see one of these forms of laysa, if you see, for example, lastu, you should know immediately, oh, that means I am not. Okay, and if you've memorized the past tense table, this should be pretty familiar. Now, how do you actually use laysa in a complete sentence? Well, the predicate of laysa, the thing that you are not, usually has a be prefix. So let's look at an example. Lastu alaykum biwakil. So lastu, we've seen this from the table, we know that this means I am not. Alaykum, over you. Biwakil. So this here is the predicate. And so I am not a guardian over you. So wakil here is the predicate, be is the prefix, and because be is a prepositional prefix, it's a preposition, wakil has to be in what case? In the majroor case. That's why it's biwakilin. Lastu alaykum biwakilin. I am not a guardian over you. Alright, so let's now move on to our next 2 words, idh and idha, both of which are related to time. So the word idh means when or since. Okay, so it's pretty simple. Let's take a look at a couple of examples. Idh dakhalu alayhi, when they entered on him, or in other words, when they went in to see him. Okay, so just dakhalu means they entered or they went in. So when they went in. Okay, another example, idh tus'iduna. So tus'idu means you climb. Tus'iduna means you all climb. So idh tus'iduna, when you were climbing. So you'll notice that idh can be used with both the past tense verb as well as the present tense verb. Okay, when they went in or when you were climbing. Okay. Now what about wa'idh? So when you're reading the Quran, you'll notice wa'idh appears a lot. So for example, وَإِذْ قَالَ رَبُّكَ لِلْمَلَائِكَةِ. Now wa'idh is actually not supposed to be translated literally. You don't say, and when. It's actually an idiom in Arabic. And there isn't a perfect translation in English, but the closest thing might be remember when, or recall when, or bring to mind when. So وَإِذْ قَالَ رَبُّكَ لِلْمَلَائِكَةِ, remember when your Lord said to the angels. Qala, said, Rabbuka, your Lord said. Okay? Another one, وَإِذْ أَخَذْنَا مِنَ النَّبِيِّينَ مِيثَاقَهُمْ, remember when we took from the Prophet their covenant. Okay? So idh means when, wa'idh is an idiom that means remember when. What about idha? So idha actually has 2 meanings. One of them is the same thing as idh. So it means when. So, for example, here in this ayah, إِذَا السَّمَاءُ انْفَطَرَتْ, when the heavens are split asunder. Okay, so إِذَا usually has a little bit more of a dramatic meaning. So, when the heavens are split asunder. Okay, so إِذَا. And as another usage of إِذَا, when it's followed by a noun or a pronoun, it can mean behold. So let's take a look at an example here. نَزَعَ يَدَهُ, so he withdrew his hand. فَإِذَا هِيَ بَيْضَاء, and behold, it was white. So in this meaning, it doesn't mean when. means behold. Okay, so those are the two meanings of إذا. Finally, we'll cover man. So man means who or whoever. So it can be used in a question sentence. So if you see man at the beginning of a sentence, it could mean who, like it's asking a question. So who is the doctor, for example. But it can also be used just as a conjunction word. So for example, here we see man wajadna mata'ana indahu. The one who we found with our goods. Okay. So in this case, man is used more of a connective word. And here's another example of that. Man amila salihan falinafsihi. Whoever acts righteously, that is for his own self, or it is to his own advantage. Okay, so in this case you see who or whoever. Another translation is those who, so in kind of a plural sense. لا يعلم من في السماوات والأرض الغيب. Whoever, those who are in the heavens and the earth, they do not know. لا يعلم الغيب. So man here can be used in a singular sense, like man wajadna here, or it can be used in kind of a whoever plural sense. But grammatically, it's always treated like a singular masculine word. That's why we see here لا يعلم. We're using the masculine form here. And the singular masculine form, even though man here is referring to anybody. Okay, so man is always treated like a masculine singular word. Alright, and that's it for today's lesson. So we've seen 4 words in Arabic, and we've seen the grammatical rules that apply to each of them. So now let's do a few examples from the Quran. The first one, ليس لهم طعام. ليس لهم طعام. So if you see the word laysa, it's good to just ignore the word for a moment and see what would the translation be without it. لهم طعام, they have food. ليس لهم طعام, they don't have food. It's just an is not. Here's another example. أليس هذا بالحق. So again, let's imagine laysa wasn't here, and let's imagine the interrogative alif, the questioning alif wasn't here either. هذا بالحق, this is the truth. Or هذا الحق, this is the truth. ليس هذا الحق, this is not the truth. And again, we see here the predicate of laysa takes the be prefix. ليس هذا بالحق, this is not the truth. أليس هذا بالحق, that turns it into a question. Is this not the truth? وَإِذْ زَيَّنَ لَهُمُ الشَّيْطَانُ أَعْمَالَهُم. And when is the typical meaning. So, okay, so here we see here, وَإِذْ. So this is actually not the literal and when. So وَإِذْ, as you remember, it means remember when, or recall when. وَإِذْ زَيَّنَ لَهُمُ الشَّيْطَانُ أَعْمَالَهُم. So the subject of this sentence is ash-shaytan. It's in the marfu' case. And remember when shaitan beautified their deeds for them. Okay, so remember when shaitan beautified their deeds for them. Alright, let's take a look at إِذَا أَنْتُمْ بَشَرٌ. Here, it's actually, if you go back to the ayah, you'll see that this is in the usage of behold. So it's saying, and behold, you men, I believe it's dispersed. So we don't have the full ayah here, but here it means behold, you all men. Okay. Last example here, man aslama wajhahu lillah. Whoever submits his face to God. Whoever submits his face to God. All right, and that is all of our exercises for today. Hopefully all of these words made sense and now you understand how to use them. They appear all the time in the Quran, so make sure you practice their usage, and next time you open up the Mus'haf, try to watch out for these words and try to understand the grammatical structure of the surrounding sentence. Jazakallahu khair. Thank you for listening. Please share this video with one other person who can benefit. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.